Welcome back to the Duel and special episode tayo ngayon. Instead of having our usual host, Serena, who is out today, it will be me and Ren in an actual one-on-one na duel. Ren, kamusta ka?
I like how you call it special.
Special?
Dalawa lang tayo.
Wala tayo.
Then,
Oh,
doesn't that make it less special?
that's less special pero para siyang parang sa movies, when you have less ninjas, they're more powerful. Mas marami,
That
'di ba?
makes sense.
Diba? Diba ganun yun eh. Law of inverse proportionality ng kalaban. Pero today we have a lot of topics to talk about in the duel today. And actually, first and foremost, we're going to talk about kailangan ba ng Filipino teams ng coaches and analysts. And then later on, we're going to talk about yung events here in the Philippines. And finally, we're going to talk about Dota Plus because we are on WXC Plus. But how are you? How are you
Right.
doing ngayon?
I know I'm feeling really stealthy today.
Really?
Yeah, because not because of myself,
Oo.
but kasi nag-adventure ako kanina going here because
Oh, yeah?
coding,
Ano yung adventure mo
because
nila?
coding today.
Oh, it's coding today.
And
Okay. So pag naririnig niyo po to,
No, it was a window hour,
window hour.
but I had to avoid the major roads.
Technically okay ka lang, which is the best kind of okay. Pero ang yabang nung ano mo nung jacket mo ngayon
Well, hindi ako sponsored ng G2A.
Hindi ka sponsored ng Virtus Pro ng
Yeah, hindi naman
Ario Hub?
mayabang, pero this is signed by Lil.
Hindi pa pagyayabang 'yun.
Yeah, that's by Lil though.
It's by Lil.
So I'm gonna
Collector's edition.
have Roger sign this.
You're going to have Roger sign this tapos tignan natin kung magdo-duel din yung mga signatures nila. Pero anyway, we're gonna go straight to our first topic.
All right.
It's a pretty important topic ngayon. We get a lot of comments on social media. Ano ba yung kulang sa mga Filipino teams? So ang tanong, do Filipino teams need to have coaches and analysts? And I'm going to let you start because ako medyo marami-rami na akong opinions on this one.
Okay. So first, I'd like to show you an information before I answer a graphic ng mga
Ito
teams.
ayoko sa'yo. Ang dami mo na naman preambulo eh. Pero okay,
Ganun
panood
talaga.
natin.
So now we see the 16 teams who earned points in the DPC, not through player transfers, but actually placed first to fourth. We have from Virtus Pro to King Win. These are 16, and you can see the top 13-ish teams except for one na may coach.
I think 12, right? 12 sila.
12 and then LFY, then except one. So then you can see the bottom part nun, yung mga walang coach, they're actually then yung mga walang coach, they're in the latter part of the rankings. Again, there's also teams outside of the rankings na mga karamihan walang coach. I'm sure there's some with coaches, but for people who actually invested in coaches, you can see them on top. Now, this is not you cannot see this sa Dota 2 lang, hindi siya independent sa Dota 2, but you can also see it in other games like CSGO. Top 8 teams ng E-League Major, you can see that in the graphic. They all have coaches. If you go to League of Legends, they have
All of
3,
them have
4, 5 coaches in the team. Not just, may head coach, may physical coach pa sila, strategy, psychology, and all these things. Now, should Filipino teams invest in coaches and analysts? Definitely. I think it's I don't want to call it a trend, but it's something that should happen. If you go back to 2014, there was an interview in the summit that was interview was made by Gods through 71, who is the coach of Minaski right now. Then he was the coach of DK and of the eHome fame. So Gods, who at that time naman, since then naman, he's very well associated with players. And he was asking 71 why Western teams don't have coaches, why Chinese teams have coaches. And it just shows na just 4 years ago, kahit yung mga Western teams, even the bigger ones, ilan lang yung may coach. There's a lot of reasons to that. One is the culture, which is a problem for West. Dahil sa East, you can see the authority of the elders, of people in position. For West, it's more or less equal sila ng rank. So nawala yung authority. But now it has changed. You can see the top teams, every top teams across games, they have coaches. Because these coaches, really give a lot of value to the team. Especially in how the games are evolving. Kunyari sa Dota 2 to be specific, coaches now have direct input sa drafting phase. So the Philippines, we're still very early in the concept of coaches. If you compare it to others, I think we're kind of in line maybe 2-3 years back sa ibang countries where wait, I'm catching my breath. Anyway, the coaches are parang manager's coach or pseudo position. It's not really strict coaching. It's starting now, but still it's very new. It's for
Pero ako dun, I'll cut you there eh.
Sige.
Kasi ako yun yung problema ko dun eh. On one hand, naniniwala ako na yes, we do need coaches
Yes.
and analysts. We need to subscribe. One would only need to look at the fact na for TNC's sake, which I know palagi na sinasabi yung TNC, pero that they're the closest na we can point to. For TNC's sake, their major successes in the international field came when they started getting coaches. A lot of people will say na pagpasok ni Demon, it was because of Demon. It was not necessarily just Demon.
Yes.
Because pumasok din si Sunby, who is now the coach of Secret.
Yes.
He came in as an analyst, not the coach. Ang parang playing coach nun si Demon, he needed Sunby to give him the necessary stats or the big picture na parang magamit niya bilang isang drafter, parang magamit niya bilang isang tagapagtaguyod ng team. But here's my problem. In the Philippines, coaches are essentially glorified PAs. That's always happened. May coach ka nga, siya rin yung manager, so siya rin yung gumagawa ng mga logistics. I don't think in the history of the Philippines, we've had a coach na talagang coach yung role. And that for me is where the problem lies. I agree. Kung titignan lang natin yung stats kanina, or di naman yung stats, pero yung breakdown of teams who are doing well, ang dami dun na doing well because they have coaches. And there's a reason for that. Diba? Ano ba ginagawa ng coach at analyst? Not only do they give you the big picture, they also free up mental space. If player ka, hindi mo na kailangang alalanin, ano ba yung din-draft nito, saan ba sila magaling, ganito, ganyan. You focus on playing. But who in the Philippines, however, has that capability?
Okay, that's why I said now we're in the early phase of this coaching thing. If you go back to that video with 71 in 2014, it was 4 years ago. You would say that Dota 2 is already pretty big in China. They've won TI 2 and then 4. Pero when asked about what he does for the team, he's gonna tell how he's the one who sets scrims. He's the one who reminds players about these things, which you would associate usually to the job of a manager. So for China, na titingnan natin as something na advanced, na something na may coaches na for the longest time. Ganun pa sila as recent as 2014. Maybe in more recent years pa nga. So I think we're starting to have now teams with coaches, or there's teams who entertain the ideas of coaches. For now, I'm sure there's still the other concerns, like maybe it's another person to pay.
It's definitely another person to pay.
It's another person to cut the price pool.
Pero yun nga yung tanong natin eh, should they invest? Maraming pwede silang gawin eh, right? Kung mag-i-invest sila, what do they do? Do they get someone foreign? Like in the case of TNC, they got Kips, who is the one time na they got an analyst talaga. With Sunby, he was a coach who can be an analyst, serve the analyst role. We saw Happy Feet, they used Scansor. Naiintindihan ko eh with teams eh. Sometimes, especially in a young field like Dota, minsan ang nangyayari, okay, kukuha tayo ng coach or analyst. The problem is that the coach or analysts themselves actually want to be players. Because they want to be players, nagkakaroon sila ng friction with the team. Gusto nilang turuan yung team how to play their game, which is not necessarily what a coach should do. So, yun, ang tanong doon, would you want to get someone from outside just to make the investment? On the other hand, the other question that we can answer or ask, why don't we have Filipino talents that can make it as a coach or analyst? Yun ang hindi ko maintindihan. Bakit? Bakit wala tayo? Ang dami nating veterano. Marami tayong magagaling mechanically. But we don't have coaches and analysts. Siguro may coaches tayo. Cast is an example. Do we have an analyst na Philippines on the team level? Yung talagang pinagkakatiwalaan ng teams. I don't know why. Hindi ko alam. So, I don't know who has to budge. I agree, again, we should invest. Who makes the first move? Organization ba yung magsasabi na, oy, kailangan talaga natin to. Players, makinig kayo. Hindi ko alam. So I don't know kung saan ka pwedeng magsimula. And yes, naiinis na ako dun sa parang ano eh. Kaya sabi natin na, beginning stage pa tayo, beginning stage tayo. Dota sa Pilipinas, hindi na beginning stage.
I'm just saying that we're in the beginning stage, but we're in the process of going there. Again, kahit naman sa ibang games, ganun usually ang case. Who starts as the coach? Those who have
Past
played the game
players.
before, mga ex-pros. But then, even sa league, it has progressed in a way na marami silang coach, and these are all professionals from different fields, because sometimes that external point of view, it gives a lot of new perspective to the teams. I think we're going there. If it's about a local person or a foreign person, right now, I'll agree na there's not a lot locally. We have always been hard workers, but it's not just about working hard, it's also about working smart, especially in this game, which is always evolving.
Every 2 weeks, it's evolving.
Every 2 weeks it's evolving right now. So we need someone. I'm not saying that the Filipino cannot do it. Definitely someone can step up. Maybe he wants to focus on this. Maybe he wants to do it full time. I'm not closing out that possibility, but basically we need to have a coach. We need to invest in
Ito
this.
ngayon yung tanong ko. Kung agreed tayo na kailangan ng Pilipino or Filipino teams need a coach, they need an analyst. Again, there are many benefits. The coach can provide freeing up your mental space so that you need to just think about the mechanics of playing, execution. Yun na lang iisipin mo. Hindi mo na iisipin yung ano ba yung stats, ilang beses ba nila pinili tong hero na to, ganito ganyan. Once you free that up, you unlock your abilities eh. Another thing that the coach can provide is pwede kanyang i-hype up. Of course, the captain can do that as well. Pero a coach can keep your mental game on track. Kasi na-train ka na mag-isip under stressful situations by the coach. Life coaching, isa pang ano yun, that's actually a subset of coaching. Some other teams in other games, meron silang actual na life coach lang, hindi sa gameplay lang. Right? Pero ang tanong ko ngayon, and I know a lot of people are asking this, a lot of insiders know this, is the Filipino player, are Filipino players coachable?
Definitely are. I think that's one of the reasons, actually, the biggest reason why kailangan natin ng coach, especially a more senior one, because communication has been a big problem with the Filipino teams as far as I can tell. I think medyo pinipersonal natin yung mga sinasabi sa atin eh. And that's something that you cannot do in a strategy game.
Pero I mean, doon ako nag-disagree. We definitely are coachable, pero may problema tayo doon. I would actually say na maybe one of the reasons kung bakit hindi pa tayo nag-i-invest at kung bakit mabagal yung pag-usad ng pagkuha natin ng coach and analyst is because right now, we're not coachable.
I don't think hindi mabagal, but it's just a very expensive.
I mean, I agree that it's expensive, pero I mean, from knowing some players, katulad ng sinabi mo, dinadamdam nila yung sinasabi ng coach.
Not the coach, but this happens, kaya nga kailangan ng coach, because if it's other players telling them, if it's their teammates
Mag-aaway sila.
Nag-aaway sila. And one of the coach's responsibility, not just in esports, but in traditional sports, you see them,
disciplining
the team, resolving problems internally, at making sure that, all these things gets fixed inside, na hindi siya kailangan lumabas, hindi siya kailangan maging issue.
Pero yun yung ibig sabihin, I don't know if we have that figure na kaya yung ego ng player na maging ganun. I don't know if we have it right now. Kasi from my observation, yes, totoo ka. Right now, ang ginagawa nila, player to player, nag-uusap sila, mali itong ginawa mo. Of course, syempre, magkakapikunan yan. Egos are high, you just lost the game, you have to fix something, yung kakampi mo na has to have your back is also riding you. Diba? Or pointing out your mistakes. Of course, it's going to take you off your mental game. Of course, magkakaroon ng pikunan. It happens in pubs, it will happen in the pro level. But in that situation, do we have the expertise locally for someone to be able to manage 5 egos in a team? 5 ego yung manage niya. I'm not entirely sure that person exists, particularly because I'm not entirely sure that it's ever been tried successfully. Because I don't know if our players are coachable. I've met a lot of players. They're very, very good players. Pero for some reason, we only listen to foreign coaches. Why is that? Diba? I don't know.
It's part of the culture. Na, I don't want to blame it, but it definitely plays a factor where, when there's a foreigner here, instead of white-looking guy, I don't want to be racist, but if there's a foreigner, there's mas may authority na kagad siya sa mga tao. As far as the normal people are concerned. Iba ang treatment mo to a fellow Asian, to a Filipino versus a white person requesting you something. Not just white, other races as well. It's similar.
I mean, I hope we can get over that. Ano, diba? We can get over that
But yeah,
mentality.
one thing I have to agree is I don't see it as well in the Philippines. There's not no one that has that kind of authority over the players. Considering, I think that's one of the problem is because yung mga coach ngayon are probably their friends, their teammates before, which kind of dampens the authority part.
Kasi pwede mong tropahin.
Kalaro ko lang to dati. Ba't ako tuturuan ito? Alam mo yung ganyung mindset. Mas magaling pa ako dito eh. That's usually, what we always hear when someone teaches us. Mas magaling pa ako sa iyo eh.
Tuturuan.
Mo ako. I think that's a thing. And that's a recurring problem that a coach has to be fixed. Kasi I believe in the 24-hour athlete thing. When you're an athlete, you should train. I'm not requesting an athlete to train for 24 hours, but
Yung mindset
basically
mo.
everything you do is to build yourself as an athlete. You don't train for 3-6 hours a day just to do something counterproductive for the rest of the day. So the coach brings it in, not just improving the players because they're freeing up space against drafts or something, but they also know the players well. They look at the players. Even 71, I'm gonna cite him again. This is the same interview. There's really not a lot of coaches sa Dota pa, but 71 has been there. Sabi niya sa Summit, then DK was 4-0. Remember the DK with Burning and...
Oh, syempre, of course. That's DK.
Yeah, that's DK. And then sabi niya, they were 4-0 in Summit. Sabi niya, God was asking how he thinks the team is playing. And sabi niya, I'm not satisfied. I'm very frustrated with the draft. There's bad early game execution and little movements that were loose. And some old problems and bad habits are manifesting and are not being fixed in training. I think that's something that the coaches can really help, especially in between games. Because when you're playing, sometimes you don't know. Minsan parang lamang ka sa game.
Ayun, parang winning fixes everything
you
eh.
look like,
Panalo naman tayo, the problems aren't existent.
yeah, but sometimes you lose, but you don't know what happened. It seems like you're doing everything right, the way you're looking at it. But then you look at the graph, you were losing all along. Or minsan parang ang laki-laki ng lamang mo. But then looking at the graph, looking at other things, you're not really winning based on your objectives that you're supposed to meet. It's hard to see those things when you're playing. A coach can really benefit, can really help with that, especially in between games. So keeping teams focused, keeping them, positive, regardless of the result, or not focused. Let's say if they're winning.
Pero yun na, I think we both agree naman na ganun. Ako, my concern lang talaga is, yes, it's high time that we invest in coaches and analysts. They provide a very important factor. And I think they are an actual winning edge. Mamaya, yung tanong natin is Dota Plus pay to win. Does it make you better at the game compared to someone else? I think that's coaches. Coaches and analysts, definitely yan. Pero magbabalik po kami on the duel for another round of issues dito sa mundo ng Dota. We will go on a short commercial break. Pagbalik namin, more on the duel between me and Ren.